Each sunrise is not just the beginning of a new opportunity, a new choice. Before the world places its demands on you, take a moment to place intention within yourself. Stand still, breathe, and repeat these 8 reminders, not just with your voice, but with your awareness. Number 1, I am responsible for my life. To accept responsibility is to return to power. It is the quiet recognition that regardless of where I've come from, what I've experienced, or what others have done to me, the direction of my life still depends on me. This does not mean I control every event that unfolds, but it means I control how I meet those events. I decide whether I meet them with clarity or with confusion, with discipline or with despair. Many people spend their lives waiting for someone to save them, for conditions to improve, for the right moment to act. But this waiting becomes a way to avoid responsibility. The truth is, no one is coming, and the right moment may never arrive. What I have is now. What I control is how I show up. If I wait for life to become easier before I take responsibility, I will remain stuck where I am. It's important to understand responsibility is not the same as blame. Blame looks backward. It asks, who caused this? Responsibility looks forward. It asks, what will I do now? There are many things that have happened in my life that were outside my control. But continuing to carry their weight, continuing to point fingers or relive the pain, that is a choice I make. If I want peace, I must let go of blame and take hold of responsibility. When I take responsibility, I shift from being a victim of life to a participant in it. I stop saying, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, what can I learn from this? Or, how can I learn from this? That shift changes everything. It doesn't make life easy, but it gives meaning to difficulty. It helps me stand tall in the storm, rather than collapsing under it. Responsibility also, I take ownership of my thoughts, words, and actions. If I speak in anger, I do not say, they made me angry. I say, if I chose to react that way. If I waste my time, I don't blame distractions. I examine my discipline. This kind of honesty is not harsh, it is necessary. Without it, I remain blind to the patterns that hold me back. With it, I begin to see clearly, and when I see clearly, I can change. There may be parts of my life that feel unfair. That's reality. Life does not offer equal paths, but it always offers a chance to rise. I may have started at a disadvantage, but I do not need to stay there. The moment I say, it's on me now, is the moment I stop waiting and begin walking. No matter how slow a pace, forward is forward. Responsibility is not about speed. It is about direction. So each morning, I remind myself I am responsible, not because I'm to blame, because I have the power to choose. Every word I speak, every habit I repeat, every attitude I carry into the day, it all begins with me. And if I want to change my life, I must begin changing what I take ownership of. Number 2, my thoughts shape my reality. What I carry in my mind becomes the lens through which I see the world. Before I speak, before I act, before I even feel there is a thought, that thought might be calm, or it might be chaotic. It might bring me strength, or it might drain my energy before the day even begins. The world outside may appear solid and fixed, but the way I experience it is built moment by moment through what I allow my mind to dwell on. Most people never examine their thoughts. They react to them as if they are facts, forgetting that thoughts are not reality, they are interpretations. A negative thought is not a truth. A fear is not a prophecy. A judgment is not wisdom. If I do not train myself to question what enters my mind, then I live not by intention, but by habit. And many of those habits were shaped by fear, comparison, and past pain. The mind is not the enemy, it is a tool. But like any tool, it can be dangerous when left uncontrolled. A knife in a skilled hand can carve wood with precision. In an untrained hand, it causes harm. The same is true for thoughts. If I allow my mind to drift, to ruminate, to spiral, then I will see problems where there are none and miss solutions that are right in front of me. But when I bring awareness to my thinking, I regain control. This awareness does not mean I force myself to think positively all the time. That would be dishonest. There will be days when the mind feels heavy. There will be moments of doubt, anxiety, and frustration. But I can observe those thoughts without becoming them. I can say, this is a storm passing through, instead of saying, this is who I am. That distance creates freedom, the space between stimulus and response. Every morning, I can choose to plant certain thoughts in my mind, just like seed of soul, a seed of patience, a seed of strength, a seed of clarity. They may not bear fruit immediately, but if I water them daily through repetition, reflection, they grow. And as they grow, they begin to shape my reality, not because the world changed, but because my mind did. I must also protect the garden of my mind. That means being mindful of what I consume, what I read, what I watch, who I listen to. The environment I feed my thoughts with either strengthens me or scatters me. If I surround myself with noise, I will think in fragments. If I allow time for silence, stillness, and focus, my thoughts become aligned, deliberate, and clean. In the end, I don't rise or fall because of what happens outside. I rise or fall based on what I believe inside. If I believe I am a victim, I will find reasons to suffer. If I believe I am capable, I will find ways to overcome. The mind will build the world I live in, brick by brick, word by word, thought by thought. That is why I remind myself every morning my thoughts are not just accusators, they are architects. Choose them wisely. Number 3, progress is better than perfection. Perfection is an illusion, a moving target that always shifts just beyond reach. It tells me must do everything flawlessly or not at all. It whispers that unless I meet some impossible standard, I am not worthy, not ready, not enough. And when I believe and I stay stuck, I delay action, I overthink. I wait for conditions to be ideal before I begin. But life does not reward the one who waits. Progress, on the other hand, is real. It is measurable, grounded, honest. It asks only one question. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Even slightly, even in ways no one else can see. The path of growth is not made of giant leaps. It is made of small, consistent steps, taken when no one is watching, often without applause, often in silence. When I aim for progress, I release the weight of needing to be perfect. I allow myself space to fail, to learn, and to adjust. Mistakes become part of the process, not signs of weakness, but signs of movement. Without failure, there is no refinement. Without imperfection, there is no depth. Nature itself grows imperfectly. Trees twist, rivers bend, and yet they reach their destination. Perfection is rooted in fear. It is a fear of judgment, of failure, of not being accepted. It causes hesitation, and hesitation kills momentum. But progress is rooted in courage. It says, start now with what you have. It says, move forward, even if it's messy. The brave are not those who wait until they feel ready. The brave are those who move even while trembling. In training and discipline in life, what matters most is repetition. Show up again and again, even when the results are small. Over time, small becomes strong. Progress compounds, one drop after another, and even stone is shaped by water. The same is true for character, skill, and self-mastery, not overnight, but quietly, relentlessly. This mindset changes the way I treat myself. I no longer punish myself for falling short. I study it. I ask, what did I learn here? Instead of, why did I fail again? Progress requires patience, and patience requires compassion. I must be firm with my standards, but kind in my process. That balance keeps me moving, even when the pace is slow. Each morning, I not ask, can I be perfect today? I ask, can I take one step forward? That step might be small. It might be invisible to others, but I will know time, those the small steps will take me further than perfection ever could. Because perfection waits, but progress walks. Number 4, I am stronger than I feel. Feelings come and go. They rise like waves, sometimes calm, sometimes crashing, but they are not permanent, and they are not always true. Some days I feel clear. Other days I feel heavy, uncertain, or drained. But what I feel in the moment does not define who I am. Feelings are weather. Strength is the mountain that remains beneath the storm. There are moments when doubt will speak loudly. It will say, you can't do this. It will say, you've failed too many times. It will try to convince me that I am weak simply because I feel discomfort. But strength is not the absence of discomfort. It is the decision to keep going in spite of it. If I only moved when I felt strong, I would never build strength. Strength is grown in the struggle, not away from it. True strength is quiet. It does not boast. It does not demand to be seen. Sometimes it is simply the ability to remain calm when I want to react. Sometimes it is the choice to stay focused when I feel distracted. Sometimes it is showing up when I would rather give up. These small internal victories are often invisible, but they are powerful. They shape the person I am becoming. Strength also means accepting the full range of what I feel without becoming overwhelmed by it. I can feel fear and still act. I can feel tired and still move. I can feel uncertain and still take the next step. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in its presence. I do not need to feel strong in order to be strong. I simply need to remember that strength is a decision, not an emotion. I carry within me the memory of every challenge I've overcome, the hard days I survived, the moments I wanted to break but didn't. That strength is real, and it didn't come from comfort. It came from persistence, from rising after falling, from breathing through chaos. I may not always feel that strength in the moment, but it is there waiting to be remembered and used. There will be days when everything feels too much. On those days, I don't need to conquer the world. I just need to do the next right thing. One breath, one movement, one clear thought. That is enough. Strength does not mean I always feel capable. It means I don't quit even when I don't. Over time, those small decisions to endure build something unshakable inside me. So each morning when I wake and the weight of the day begins to rise, I remind myself I am stronger than I feel. My emotions are waves. My strength is the ocean beneath. I trust that, I move with that, and I let that quiet strength carry me forward. Number 5, discipline is freedom. At first, this may sound like a contradiction. Freedom seems to mean doing what I want, no rules, no limits. But this kind of freedom often leads to chaos. Without discipline, the mind becomes restless, the body becomes weak, and time slips through my fingers. Real freedom, the kind that brings peace, strength, and clarity, comes from self-control, from choosing structure over impulse. Discipline is not punishment. It is training. It is the act of showing up again and again for what matters. Even when motivation fades, even when no one is watching. Anyone can act when it's easy. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially builds difficult. This consistency builds something deeper than confidence. It builds trust in myself. I learn that I can rely on my own actions, not just my intentions. The undisciplined life may feel comfortable in the short term, but it comes with hidden costs, regret, disorder, lost potential. I've felt that heaviness before. The weight of knowing I could have done more, but chose comfort instead. Discipline removes that weight. It may ask more of me now, but it gives me more later. It trades ease in the moment for peace in the long run. Structure sets me free. When I train my body, I move through the world with energy and capability. When I train my mind, I think clearly, without being hijacked by every distraction or emotion. When I train my focus, I work with precision instead of wasting time. In this way, discipline becomes a key, quiet, consistent force that unlocks my true capacity. There is discipline in how I rise in the morning, in how I breathe, in how I speak, move, listen, and respond. It is not just found in grand gestures or extreme routines. It is found in the small decisions repeated daily. The decision to sit in silence, the decision to stay present, the decision to act with purpose instead of reacting from emotion. These choices over time shape my character. Discipline also brings a sense of alignment. When my actions match my values, I feel steady. I no longer waste energy on excuses or internal conflict. I know who I am and what I am committed to. I do not need external motivation. The discipline itself becomes the rhythm of my life, a rhythm that brings calm, not pressure. That rhythm makes space for true freedom, the freedom to be intentional, focused, and deeply alive. So each day, I remind myself discipline is not a cage the path. It sharpens the mind, strengthens the body, and centers the spirit. In that commitment, I find not limitation, but liberation. Through structure, I walk freely. Number 6, I do not need the approval of others. Approval is a moving target. One moment, others may praise me. The next, they may criticize. If I tie my worth to their opinions, I become a leaf in the wind, blown in every direction, never rooted. The need for approval feels safe at first, but it becomes a prison. It causes me to shape myself around the expectations of others, even when those expectations are in conflict with my truth. The desire to be liked is natural, but it must not lead. If I live for applause, I will build a life on performance, not purpose. I may impress people, but I will never know peace, because I will always be looking outward, wondering, do they approve? Do they see me? Do they accept me? And when the answer is no, or worse, silence, I will collapse. That is not strength. Approval seeking is a habit. It forms early, when I learn that certain behaviors earn praise and others earn rejection. But I am no longer a child seeking validation. I am an adult choosing integrity. There is a quiet power in walking my own path, even when it is misunderstood, even when it is judged. The world does not need more people who conform. It needs more people who stand firmly in who they are. When I release the need for approval, I begin to hear my own voice again. Not the voice shaped by fear, but the voice of truth. The one that knows what feels aligned, what feels honest. This voice does not shout. It is quiet, steady, and calm. To hear it, I must turn down the volume of the world and tune into what is real within me. Living without the need for approval does not mean I reject feedback or close myself off. It means I listen with discernment. I receive what is useful and I let the rest pass. I no longer chase validation. I live from principle, from discipline, from a deeper knowing that I am not here to please everyone. I am here to live with clarity and strength. There will always be people who misunderstand me. That is part of walking any honest path. And that is okay. I do not need to explain myself to everyone. Silence can be strength. I am not here to prove my worth. I am here to express it through how I live, how I serve, how I hold myself. That is enough. So each morning I remind myself, I am not here to impress. I am here to embody. I release the need to be seen a certain way. I move from truth, not performance. And in doing so, I find something deeper than approval. I find freedom, peace, and inner alignment. Number 7, I carry peace within me. Peace is not found in the world outside. It is not in the absence of problems, nor in the approval of others, nor in a perfect environment. If I chase peace out there, I will never stop running. The world will always be in motion, loud, unstable, unpredictable. But within me, there is a quieter place, a place untouched by the noise. That is where real peace lives. Not something I find, something I return to. This peace is not weak or passive. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is the calm at the center of the storm. It is the space between stimulus and response. The ability to pause before I react, to observe before I speak, to respond with clarity, not emotion. That stillness, that discipline of presence is a form of strength greater than force. I do not need to escape to a quiet place to be peaceful. I bring the quiet with me. In every situation, I can choose to meet it with resistance or with presence, with reactivity or with calm awareness. Peace is not in control. It is in letting go of what I cannot control. The moment I stop trying to change everything outside me, I begin to change the way I experience it. The mind wants to rush, to fix, to analyze, to protect. But not everything needs fixing. Not everything needs a reaction. Sometimes it just needs space, a breath, a moment to pass through. When I stop feeding every thought with energy, I allow peace to rise naturally. Like water settling when I stop stirring it. Peace is not given. It is a choice I make in how I move, how I speak, how I sit, how I listen. It is found in how I hold my body, how I carry my mind, how I breathe. In each of these moments, I can either tighten or release. I can either add to the noise or anchor myself in stillness. Every day gives me countless chances to return to that choice. Even in moments of anger or chaos, I can step back. I can say to myself, this is not permanent. This is not me. This is passing. That awareness shifts the energy. I don't suppress what I feel. I allow it, observe it, and release it, like a wave washing through. The more I practice this, the less control the outside world has over my inner state. So I remind myself each day peace is not something I wait for. It is something I carry. I walk with it, breathe with it, return to it. Not because life is easy, but because I am grounded. And the more I live from that place, the more I begin to create peace in the world around me. Without forcing it, without demanding it, simply by embodying it. I'm enough as I am. This simple truth is often the hardest to accept. Society tells me I must do more, be more, achieve more, in order to be worthy. Comparison pulls me into a cycle of never-ending striving, where satisfaction feels always just out of reach. But beneath all the noise, beneath all the demands, there is a quiet core of being that needs no improvement, no validation, no justification. I am enough, not because of what I do, but because of who I am. To say, I am enough, is not an excuse to stop growing or improving. It is not complacency. It is a recognition that my worth is inherent and unconditional. It means I can pursue growth from a place of wholeness, not from a place of lack. When I know I am enough, I am free to learn without fear, to fail without shame, to rest without guilt. I become whole even as I evolve. Many of us carry the burden of perfectionism because deep down we doubt our intrinsic value. We tie our self-worth to external markers, success, appearance, approval. But this external footing is unstable. It shifts with circumstances and fades with time. Only when I root myself in the truth of enoughness do I find a foundation that cannot be shaken by praise or criticism. Acceptance is the doorway to peace. When I accept myself fully, my strengths and weaknesses, my light and shadow, I stop fighting my nature. I stop wasting energy resisting what is. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means clarity. I see myself as I am, honestly, and from that place, I make choices that honor my true self. To embrace, I am enough, is also to extend that same acceptance outward. When I am at peace with my own worth, I am less likely to judge others harshly or seek approval desperately. I see their struggles as reflections of universal human experience, not threats or comparisons. This softens my heart and opens space for compassion for myself and for others. The journey to feeling enough may be long and winding. Old habits of self-criticism run deep, and voices of doubt may persist. But every time I remind myself of this truth, I plant a seed. Over time, those seeds grow roots of confidence, kindness, and resilience. They anchor me in who I truly am, beyond the fluctuations of external success or failure. Each morning, I begin by affirming I am enough as I am. This is not arrogance or vanity. It is a steady reminder that my value is inherent and unchanging. In this acceptance, I find freedom, the freedom to be authentic, to rest, to grow, and to live fully without the burden of needing to prove myself. This truth carries me through the day,